Good evening, everyone. My name is Star Lion. I am coming here today because after 5 months of silence, it has been clear that I must speak publicly. I have tried every eternal channel. I have reached out respectfully, professionally, and repeatedly, and yet I remain without answers, without resolution, and without dignity I work so hard to uphold. I'm going to play this recording and let you hear some of it, of the mistreatment that I endured at the town of Apex.
I feel like you want to set me up. I feel like you want me gone. All the little chitter, chatter, and sneaking around, go sneak and talk, and go sneak behind, and teams, and text, and whatever. I feel. This is how I feel. You're talking about how you feel. I'm not necessarily saying it might be true because I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You're assuming, but go ahead.
And just like you are assuming about me.
No, your body language told me a lot.
Your body language tells me a lot.
I ain't never been non-loving to you at
Okay,
all.
you're not going to agree.
I'm not.
I know. But that's how I feel. So you say you have my back, I don't feel like you have my back. At one time, I used to feel like you had my back. And I had your back, and you know it.
And I don't feel like that anymore neither, Miss Veronica.
So, and I used to beg you, and you say you hadn't changed. You have. I used to beg you, Star, when you get...
Let me tell y'all something. I have worked all my life. I have treated people with respect. I've never tried to harm or hurt anybody. But I worked 40 years of my life in the public eye. I do a lot of stuff on the side for the community that I don't talk about because I don't need accolades. But I'm coming to you all because I want you all to know what I endured at the town of Apex. I'm going to look off sometimes because I'm going to read what I have here. But I'm going to tell you who I am and why this matters. For those who know me, you know my heart. I have always served with dignity and integrity, not just at my job, but in my community, my church, and with every person I encounter. I have always served everyone with integrity. I never mistreated anyone. I never sought attention. I simply showed up, worked hard, and treated people the way I want to be treated. I gave the town of Apex 3 years and 6 months of dedicated service. My evaluations were good. I received pay raises just like every other staff member. I had no reprimands, no write-ups, no documented misconduct of any kind. Nothing in my file, nothing in my evaluations, and nothing in my history with the town ever suggested a problem with my performance or my conduct. What I experienced. But behind the scenes, I endured mistreatment that no employee should have to face. I reported behavior that made my workplace hostile. I asked for help, and I followed every protocol. My attempts to resolve this internally, before I ever filed with the EEOC, I followed the chain of command. I reached out to the director. I reached out to the assistant town manager, and I reached out to HR. I asked for help, clarity, and support. HR denied my grievance, and told me that the incident where a manager clapped her hands in my face was just a mere clap. And every other concern I raised was dismissed as well. After exhausting every eternal option and receiving no protection, I filed with the EEOC because I had no other avenue left. My EEOC claim and what followed. I want to explain something about my EEOC process because it matters to my timeline. I was awarded a right to sue, and that window ended May 21st, 2025. I tried to get legal assistance during that time, but I was unable to secure representation. That's because when you go against a municipality, nobody wants to help you. So let me keep going. What I did not expect was to be terminated exactly 2 months and 2 days after my right to sue expired. My right to sue ended on May 21st, 2025. I was terminated from my job on July 23rd, 2025. I am not making legal arguments. I am simply sharing the timeline as it happened. The impact of my health and stability. My health issues did not begin after my termination. They were already being treated reasonably with medication and regular doctor's visits while I had health insurance. But when I was terminated, I lost that coverage. Every doctor's visit, every prescription, every treatment is now paid out of pocket. I am diabetic, and I have struggled to afford the shots I need. I have had to limit my doctor's visits because of the cost. But even in this, I remain hopeful. I am trusting God to carry me through. I am not sharing this for sympathy, so please don't get it twisted. I'm not sharing this for sympathy at all. I'm sharing it because losing my job didn't just affect my income, it affected my health, my stability, and my ability to care for myself. I want justice for the mental stress, the humiliation, and the way my name and character was blemished. Any of you all out there know, if you truly know me, instead of being, want to know every detail, if you really know me, you know that I have a heart for people. But let me finish. Lifelong work, integrity, and courage. I also want to share something personal. I have worked 40 years of my life. I started young, and I have never been without a job. Every job I've ever held, I held with respect, dignity, longevity. I have always shown up, done my work, and treated people the way I want to be treated. For a long time, I was afraid to tell my story. I felt embarrassed. I worried about what people would say or what they might think, what they might already be saying. I worried that people would want details just to have something to talk about. Not because they truly cared about what I was going through. But this is my life. And sometimes bad things happen to good people. I have always been respectful. I have always been humble. I have always been honest and supportive with everyone I've worked with and everyone I've served. This experience has been deeply detrimental, but I am not afraid anymore. People will be who they are, supportive or not. What matters is that I stand in my truth. A message to anyone listening right now. And let me say this. Never think you know what will or will not happen to you. My situation could be anyone's situation one day. I never imagined something like this would happen to me. Not after 40 years of working, serving, and giving my best. But it did. And even with everything I'm going through, God is still good. He has kept me, strengthened me, and given me the courage to speak when I once felt embarrassed, afraid, and unsure of how people would judge me. The town silence. Now, mind you, when I say the town silence, I was employed at the town of Apex. I reached out to the director. I reached out to the assistant town manager. I reached out to HR. I reached out to the governing body multiple times. I submitted a public statement on December the 9th, 2025, and it is now a part of the town of Apex official public record. So you can go out there and request those minutes, and you should be able to see my public forum. And still, I get silence from the town of Apex. 5 months of silence. Public policy matters even at an at-will state. I understand North Carolina is an at-will state. I get that. But the town of Apex has its own personnel policies, Article 9 and Article 10, that outlines progressive discipline, documentation, and employee protections. Those policies were never applied to me. I had no reprimands, no write-ups, and no documented misconduct, yet I was terminated. And I'm going to tell you this. I was attacked by a coworker. Before I got fired. And instead of both of us being reprimanded, I was terminated and she kept her job. I was terminated immediately and she kept her job. She got reprimanded a couple of weeks after I had been fired or terminated, or however you want to put it. Where is the fairness at here? I've never been written up. I've never caused any problems on anybody's job. I've worked so many jobs. I've worked with so many people. And I've always been a person that helped everybody. I never tried to leave nobody hanging by themselves. But this is very hurtful. But let me give you the bigger picture here. This is not just about me. The town of Apex has been in the media since July 1st, 2024. First, for the cyber attacks, and now for ongoing billing issues. But what the public doesn't know give me just a second. But what the public doesn't see is how staff are treated behind closed doors. Some employees are protected, others overlooked. And when someone speaks up about mistreatment, they face consequences instead of support. I addressed the mistreatment I experienced, and now I am unemployed. Why am I speaking now? I have waited. I have prayed. I have reached out. I have given every opportunity for leadership to respond. But 5 months later, there has been no resolution, no accountability, and no acknowledgement of the harm done. The silence is enough. And because of that silence, it is time for me to speak publicly. My call to the community and those who fight for justice. I am asking for your support, not out of anger, but out of hope. Hope that when a system fails one person, the community will stand. Hope that fairness still matters. Hope that transparency still matters. Hope that accountability still matters. To the community, share this video, ask questions, stand with me. To any attorney, advocate, or legal professional who hears this, I have followed every internal process. I have documentation. I have a timeline. I have public record. I have an EEOC history and a clear sequence of events. And I'm asking and seeking justice. I went through a lot, a whole lot, by people that say they are children of God. You cannot say that you are a child of God and you lie, you mistreat people, and you cover up things that you know that is not true. And excuse me for the tears, because I went through hell for 3 years and 6 months. I did everything that I could to seek help. I went to my superiors and I asked for help. They turned their backs on me as if I was the problem. But I know who my mom raised. She raised a child of God. She raised a child that met people where they were and not where she were. She raised a child that has a heart for everybody. Whether you like me or you don't, whether you have some personal problem with me, I never would ever mistreat anybody or make them feel less than, because I'm no better than anybody else, and nobody is better than anybody else. But to have my character to be blemished and people gang up on me and all get together and build a report to make it appear that I was a person that showed misconduct. I've never worked and treated anybody like that. And to have my name slandered and my character blemished, that really broke my heart. I am fighting with depression every day. But guess what? I still know who God is. And despite of what I'm going through, God is still in charge. He is still going to make a way for me. And it's a shame that people feel like because you advocate and speak up for yourself that you are showing misconduct. And I was told that I was showing insubordination. And I couldn't figure out what the insubordination was, because I spoke up for myself and I did it with integrity and dignity. I didn't go out there and point fingers, hoop and holler. And the day that I got terminated, let me tell y'all something. I was really, really humiliated. I got called into a meeting and I was in there with the assistant HR director, the new director for HR, the interim director, because my director decided to leave his job after everything went down, but he left before I got fired. So they had already been working on trying to get rid of me. They didn't really have just cause to get rid of me because I have all of my performance reviews and all the badges and all the stuff that everybody in higher up and including my peers, superiors, and people in different departments, they all sent me accolades. So how can I be on a job and show misconduct? And I receive all this stuff from everybody from different departments. Mind you, when the cyber attack hit, I worked 2 weeks straight, nonstop with very limited sleep for the town of Apex. I go in the wee hours of the morning. I will work till it got pitch black dark and drove all the way to Lillington where I live. And I will eat and get back on my computer and work because I was manually keying in 5,600 and some bank drafts to make sure the customers were being drafted. And I had to manually key those. And not only that, I had to do adjustments where people were being double billed or being double charged by accident because of some work that they were doing on the back end, and people were being double charged. So I had to go do adjustments to take those payments off. And I did all of this for 2 weeks. I'm not looking for nobody to put me on a pedestal or to give me no kind of crown, because I don't receive my crown from nobody. I receive it from nobody but Jesus Christ, my God. That's who I want it from. Anything that I've done for anybody, I don't want it publicly known. But if you choose to, that is okay. I do everything I do from my heart. But it's a shame that they took all of my benefits from me to the point that I have a cold right now. I have a sore throat, been sick. I can't afford to go to the doctor because I have to pay out of pocket. I had to go last week because I've been having problems with my right leg. I've been falling every now and then, so I had no choice. So right now I got a bill that I got to pay them. But let me tell y'all, God did work that out. When it came time to pay the bill, they couldn't figure out how to charge me. So the lady said, I tell you what, just go on and leave. We'll bill you later. I said, thank you, Lord, because I really didn't have the money to pay it. So, but you know what? You can't keep stepping on good people. Even if you think that they're not good people, there are some good people. I don't care how you feel about me, whatever you feel about me growing up as a child or whatever, that's on you. I have growth. I have Jesus. I have changed my life. And I forgive everybody. So whatever you're holding on against me, that's you. But I want to get my story out because I'm fighting for my life here. The town of Apex feels like I'm nothing. My work was in vain, and I know it's not, because I did above and beyond. And the thing is, when I first started there, everybody quit. Everybody that worked up front. When I say up front, that's the people that take your payments and all that. I was a customer service person up front, taking bills like I did at the town of Irwin. But I had more to do than this, that. I had to take taxes and all that, take everybody payments that they brought in from different departments. I had to do all that. Well, everybody quit. So I was left there, only been there 6 months, less than 6 months. I worked the entire front by myself as a 3-person or 4-person, doing a 3 or 4 person's job. I didn't complain. There was nothing undone. All my monies was accounted for. Everything was done. I worked through lunch sometimes just to make sure I didn't bother nobody else. So I also sat in there and I helped to interview the new hires. But mind you, I worked about 4 months by myself, almost 4 months by myself. I come in early. I stay late. I made sure everything was done. And at the time we had a new director. At the time, the old director, he's not there anymore. He would come by and he would say, Star, I'm so sorry. And I asked him why. He said, because you're working up here by yourself. I said, you know what? I came here to do a job. And if that means I got to do it by myself until God sends me who needs to come and work, I'm going to do just that. I'm not going to fold because somebody else folded. I'm not going to leave and quit because somebody else quit. I'm going to do what I come here to do. My mama instilled in her children what work is, how you're supposed to work, how you're supposed to present yourself, how you're supposed to treat people. She taught us the Bible as children. Though we stray, we still knew how to come back. And the thing is, the turnaround at Apex is sad because before I was terminated, a lot of people left the town of Apex and started going to the town of Cary because of being underpaid, some being mistreated, and a lot of stuff is hid under the rug. Nobody, and I don't think it's just Apex, but a lot of stuff is hid under the rug. Certain things happen for different people. A lot of people they're able to do things and nothing's said. The policy applies to certain people. When it's convenient for you, it applies to you. But I'm fighting here for my life. I'm fighting for my character. I'm fighting the town of Apex for what they stand and allow to happen to me. I have documentations. I also have recordings that I just played some of it where my manager at the time said that she was guilty for not talking to me because she did not want to be fake. And that all of us was trying to stab her in her back and wanted her gone. I've shown that woman the utmost respect, even when she clapped her hands in my face. She was in my space. She was in my face. And HR brushed it off as just a mere clap, is what I was told. Not only that, she ran up on my back. She was so much on my back, very aggressive one day, over some Lysol. Over Lysol. If I would have turned around, I would have kissed her in her mouth. That's how close she was on my back. And they said that that was not a hostile environment. Not a hostile environment. She not only did certain things to me, but she did it to the other black women in the office. She never did that to any of the white women. It was done. And mind you, so that you will know, she's the same color as me. She's black. And she mistreated the black women in the office. Me and another lady was accused. She didn't blatantly say it out of her mouth, so let me correct that. But the gesture about the Lysol. She didn't ask me about the other supplies that was requested, that I requested. I requested a case of paper because the office needed, because we were sharing it with accounting and with us. So we got all these staff members using paper. So one case of paper was not working between two departments, if anybody understand what I'm saying here. She didn't ask about the case of paper. She didn't ask about the coffee cups that one of the other workers from accounting asked me to get. Would you please get us a case of coffee cups for the people that drink coffee in the office? I was addressed about Lysol. I don't have to steal Lysol. I have a husband that and I'm going to tell you what he did for me after he found out that I'm not going to say accused me, But the gesture with the action in my mind that I stole Lysol. He started providing me with Lysol to take to my job. That the town actually supplies each department. But the thing is, me, is the mistreatment and then the silence. I've reached out to the town. I've reached out to the government body, everyone that sits on the government body over at the town of Apex. I have expressed my concerns. I have sent them all of my emails, even all the screenshots that I had from her, including my performance reviews. I waited. I asked for my public records after I was fired. Do you know how long I had to wait to get my public records? Almost 3 months. The town didn't give me my public records. And when I got them, do you know what was in there? Nothing. The only thing that was in there was my performance reviews, badges that I received for being a good worker. What else was in there? The letter that I was given when I was terminated. And there was nothing in there telling me the legitimate reason for my termination. Nothing. I asked why I was terminated. This is what I was told at the meeting when I was terminated. Well, Star, you have shown misconduct for years, and we've been watching you. I've only been there 3 years and 6 months. And the person that was doing the talking hadn't even been there that whole time that I was employed there. So how can she be watching me for years? Said that I've shown misconduct. Now, if you can think now, and you know a little bit about HR, if I've shown any kind of misconduct for 3 years and 6 months, why was I never reprimanded? Where's the documentation? Why is it not in my employee file? Why have I not been met to discuss my misconduct? The only thing that I received was a counseling in May 24th, 2024. And she was trying to tell me that I was insubordinate because she was trying to use a lunch schedule. But that's not the purpose. The whole thing was the mistreatment. She would go to every other employee and ask them, are you okay? Do you need anything? And walk past me like I was nothing. Like I was not a part of the team. I was never written up. I never had any warnings. Nothing. Nothing. I can show you proof. I have everything because I was smart enough to email all my stuff to myself before I got fired. I didn't even know that I was going to be fired from my job. But months and months before, I went ahead and started taking my stuff out of the office that was my personal stuff because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. And then a year later, I get terminated. I've tried every person to take my case, and they turn the other cheek because they don't want to go against a municipality. So I'm coming to Facebook to see how my story is going to get told now. Who's going to care? Because it's not just about me. How many people, not just at the town of Apex, them been terminated from their job for no cause? Don't use that at will state with me. You got a personnel policy that you go by, guidelines. It's written in black and white. I got your personnel policy too. I got copies of that too. But the disappointing thing is, let me tell y'all this, and then I'm getting ready to close. The day I got terminated, they had 2 police officers in another room, and they escorted me out the building like I was showing any kind of misconduct, like I was a criminal. They escorted me out of the town of Apex. Do you know what one of the officers said to me? Ma'am, I don't even know why we're escorting you out of here. You didn't even act irate or nothing. You took your termination and said thank you and walked out. So if I've shown any misconduct, why is your police officer saying those things to me? And you know what I told him? Why would I act unseemly? I was blindsided. They terminated me for no reason. I asked, give me proof. Nobody wants to give me proof. All I was told was I showed misconduct and that I violated the Town of Apex Policy Article 9, which I just told you what it said. And I didn't get any of those. But in my closing, y'all, I am not naming the individuals. I am not attacking anyone. I am sharing my truth, backed by dates, documents, and public record. I worked with integrity and I served with respect, and I deserve the same return. So I want to thank y'all for listening and standing with me. And I want you to share this video and get it across this nation, because you know what? Right is right and wrong is wrong. Because if I knew that I did something wrong, I would not push this issue. I would not be on Facebook telling you my business, because I felt embarrassed. I felt like I failed, but I didn't fail. They failed me. But just like you said, Miss Cookie, I do have favor. I know that my God, our God, is working in the background, and he's not going to let me fall. And I'm going to hold on to Psalms 23. He will prepare that table in the presence of my enemies. And he will anoint my head, and my cup will run over. And I don't do anything without being humble. I don't want to get nothing and not be humble. If God bless me today with everything that he desires to give me, I want to remain humble. I don't want to look down and say I have, or point my fingers at nobody, or brag about nothing. That's not my spirit, and that's not my heart. And if you truly know me, you know that what I'm speaking is nothing but the honest God truth. But I got emails. I got copies that I've sent straight to the town managers and everybody over there. And I'm telling you, this is hurtful. Thank you, Dwight. Just inbox me, baby. I will check. But I'm disappointed at, I reached out to everybody, every lawyer. I even went to Charlotte. And everybody, they saying, we just can't represent you, but you got a case. You got a case, but we can't do it. You know, and they trying to get me to go here, get me to go there. But I know within my heart that God is going to send me what I need. And let me tell you something. If God blesses me, I'm going to remain humble. I will never, ever put myself above nobody, because that's not me. I will never do that. I will give you my last. If you need anything from me, I will do my best to try to help you. And if I can't, I will send you to somebody that can. But I want the town of Apex to know that you have done some things that has really messed with my mental state and has put a lot of stress on me. And I had to come back to my senses after talking to my mom. That's my cheerleader. My mom always tells us, you continue to treat people with kindness, even when they mistreat you. because you're heaping coals upon their head. And that's always stuck with me. And if they do mistreat me, I know to leave them alone. But I will still treat them with respect. Edward, I will call you. Yes, sir. And if anybody want to send me a text, here's my phone number. Text me because I don't answer my phone because of all these scam calls that I'm getting. 910-808-8059. I love you guys, and I thank you for listening. And I want you to share this video, and I want it to go viral. If you got to put it on Instagram, I don't care where you put it, TikTok, because somebody needs to be held accountable for what they did. I appreciate y'all. God bless y'all, and let heaven smile upon y'all. And I'm still going to keep holding on, and I'm still going to continue to fast and pray. Thank y'all for listening.